Buongiorno belli amici! Welcome to Calabria Dreaming. My name is Lily and I make videos about living here in beautiful Bella Calabria. Today's video is an exciting video. I've gotten a lot of requests for this video and it's all about what the healthcare system is like here in Calabria. So I'm going to share with you guys my honest opinion and my honest experience. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it because there are some issues with the healthcare system down here in Calabria, but I'm going to tell you the pros and cons and yeah, so let's get into it. So as many of you guys may know, I was pregnant in 2017 with my baby Sunny here in Calabria. I was able to get health care because I am the mother of an Italian baby, and so I was able to get residency very, very quickly and get my tessera di sanitaria, which is like this health card, okay? Once you get this health card, you pick a doctor, usually based off of location, like wherever you're living, you know, you want your doctor to be fairly close to you. You pick a doctor and then you go to that doctor and he, you know, if you need to get a chest x-ray, if you need to get your blood taken, he writes a prescription, you take that prescription and you go and you get your EKG or your blood taken, and it's all covered for free. So with the public health card that you get here, all doctor visits are free, all dentist visits are free, hospitalization, everything is covered basically under that. So when I was pregnant, I did in the beginning have a public gynecologist at the hospital of Soverato. He was great. It was very basic care. You know, just check the baby, check my blood, all of those things. We did like the sugar thing that you have to drink, and all of that was covered. Didn't cost me anything. But when I was about 6 months pregnant, I decided I wanted to go check out the hospital of Catanzaro to see where I would be giving birth to my baby. I had these very high expectations, you know, I wanted to have this amazing experience. So I went to go check out the hospital. Now I had heard that Catanzaro Hospital was like the best hospital in all of the region. They have an intensive care unit for babies, so a NIC unit. They have all this, like, they told me it was like the most advanced hospital in all of Calabria. So I went there thinking good things and was absolutely horrified when I got there. I had a full-blown panic attack to the point where the nurse had to like sit me down. I was hyperventilating. I was scared out of my mind. So I get to the hospital. It's this huge building, right, on the top of this mountain in Catanzaro. When I tell you that it was a nightmare, it was a freaking nightmare. I walk in, there's graffiti spray paint all over the walls. The wires hanging down. The elevators were so old, like, and disgusting. Like it looked like an apartment building in, like, I don't know, Russia circa 1945. Like, it was so shocking and jarring. So I kept thinking, okay, let's just get to the maternity ward. Maybe it will be like cleaner and brighter and happier in there. I get to the maternity ward and there's about 50 men outside of the maternity ward smoking cigarettes in the actual hospital, okay? The men are not allowed to go into the maternity ward until you're actually ready to push. So the hours laboring, you're in the maternity ward by yourself. There were no private rooms at the time. I know that they have since remodeled, but this is what my experience was. It was 6 women to a room. You all shared a bathroom. When people come to visit you and the baby, you have to see other people's visits. And another thing is, what really freaked me out is I heard from several people, some of my friends that had given birth there, that once you give birth, they immediately take the baby away and can sometimes keep the baby for up to 8 hours while they clean it. This was like absolute, like, this was like, I was in horror. I was absolutely panicking when I realized that this hospital was not going to be good for me to give birth in. So I know that they have since remodeled the maternity ward and I think spruced it up a little bit, but yeah, they didn't understand like skin to skin. They didn't understand delayed clamping of the cord. They didn't understand like water birth or hypnobirth. They had none of those ideas, okay? So when I went to the hospital that first time when I was 6 months pregnant, it was an absolutely no-go for me. Like, I was scared to death and about to leave Calabria to go birth back in the States. Luckily, I found through one of my mommy groups that I was in, a midwife that recommended that a different birthing center about 2 hours away from my house in Cosenza. It was a private birthing clinic where they had water birth, they had skin to skin, they had delayed clamping, they understood hypnobirthing. They were really great. So I went up there, saw the private clinic, was totally put at ease. They were awesome. They understood what I wanted to do with the water birth. They understood that I was, not into taking any medicine. I didn't want any intervention. I really wanted to have a natural birth. Unfortunately, when it came time for me to give birth, I ended up having an emergency C-section, which was honestly very, very traumatizing. I have a very traumatizing birth story that I'm not going to get into. One of the reasons why was they rushed me into surgery without explaining what was going on. I had no time to even sign the paperwork. They had me in the surgical room, and I hadn't had even 5 minutes to process that I was about to have a cesarean or to have a spinal tap. Like I wasn't prepared for it. And the nurse that was tending to me kept telling me to shut up while I was having the baby ripped out of my body. So I don't know if that was a language barrier. I think he probably didn't understand that shut up was like a very mean and rude term to be using. And so because of that, I did not have an amazing cesarean, emergency cesarean. However, I ended up giving birth to Sunny. It was fine. The operation went fine. Sunny was fine. I ended up having a private room at that clinic with Angelo being able to sleep there with me. I had a private bathroom. I was all like drugged up. I had the drip. I had the IV for the antibiotics and all the stuff. So I was there for 3 days, 24-hour, around the clock nursing, people coming in the room, checking on me, checking on the baby. We had a lactation consultant, like all of those things. At the end of my 3-day stay, I was like scared that it was going to cost upwards of $10,000 more, because in the United States, when you have a cesarean, even in the hospital, it can cost upwards of $20,000. My 3-day stay in my private room with all the things that I needed to get through that cesarean was 300 euros. That's right, 300 euros. So the reason I want to share this is that, yes, the hospitals here are an absolute total nightmare. Even though they tell you that they have all the equipment and they have everything necessary to save your life, it is not visually pleasing whatsoever. Now, just to put this into context, I have been I was living in Colombia, and I got very, very sick when I was in Colombia. Had an intestinal flare-up and almost died. And I was in the hospital for 3 days in Colombia. The Colombian hospital compared to the Calabrian hospital was like a 5-star resort. This is like the hospital that I saw, the public hospital that I saw back in 2017 was an absolute like horror movie. Like it really looked like a hospital from the 1930s, just like old nurses. It had that horrible lighting. Like it was honestly like one of the worst hospitals I've ever seen in my life. But that being said, there are private clinics that you can choose, right? And they're really not that expensive. So that applies to other issues as well. So if you're not giving birth and you have some procedure that you want to do, you can choose the private hospital if you like, and you pay extra for that, but it's really not that expensive. Or you can, if you don't have any money, you're just going to have to go through the public hospital and deal with public doctors, and that's fine too. I know that if anything should happen to me, if like I've had a car accident, if I had some issue, I know that the hospitals here would be able to deal with it. It's not at all what you expect. So the point of this is that you can always choose private clinics. They have private hospitals, they have private gynecology offices, they have private everything. And it's not a very big payment to make. I mean, the co-pays that I used to pay in the United States are basically equivalent to paying a private doctor here. So price-wise, it's really, really affordable, even if you choose private, excuse me. And what I want to say is too is they have a lot of great doctors here, private doctors that you can pay extra for. So I personally use an osteopath and a naturopath, and they don't cost, they cost an extra 80 euros a visit. If you wanted to go get an EKG and just pay privately for it, I think it's like 80 to 100 euros. Your blood, if you want to go get your blood drawn and do like basic analysis on it, it's like 60 euros to upwards of 100, depending on what kind of tests you're running. So there's always the option of going private if you want to. And the doctors here, the public doctors or whatever, I do have to mention that it's totally normal to see doctors smoking out of hospital windows at the hospital. Like, to me, this is like, I remember seeing, like, when I drove up to the hospital in Catanzaro, a doctor hanging out of the window smoking a cigarette. Like, this is, I guess, normal. Doctors smoke here, and they smoke in front of their patients, and they smoke in hospitals. It's wild. It's crazy. That is real. So, you know, the public doctors are what you get, but the private doctors are actually really, really amazing. So you can always get the private doctors. Now, everything is basically free. So if you want to go get your teeth taken care of and you don't want to pay extra for a private dentist, you have to wait. Sometimes it can be a couple days to be in line, to get certain procedures done. The dentistry here, the public dentistry is awful. So it's very, very basic. There's no gas. There's no cool x-ray machines. It's like literally going to the dentist maybe 40 years ago. So they have like the basics, but it's just like I said, it looks like it's from 1935. But you can get it done for free. I go to a private dentist because I'm an absolute baby when it comes to going to the dentist. And, you know, you pay like $150 for a root canal or something like that. And the dentistry is much, much better. And they have all the cool gadgets, and they have all the gas, and they have all the numbing, and they have everything that you need. So you can pay for that. Same with doctors as well. It is true. The stories about the hospitals here it is atrocious. I cannot believe that they would be so proud of a hospital that is filled with smokers, graffiti, wires hanging from the ceiling. The elevator was just like, it literally was like the oldest elevator I'd ever seen. It was a frightening experience for sure. But, you know, you compare that to my private clinic that I went to, besides the nurse, the asshole nurse that was telling me to shut up the entire time, the actual experience there was really, really great. They took great care of me. And yeah, here in Calabria, I feel like people are much healthier in general. Like, there's a very big older population here, and I feel like they live really great lives. They have their doctor. Their doctor I feel like there's not a culture here of pushing medicine. Like, medicine is like the last resort. It's always like, well, change your diet, go out and get more fresh air, go exercise. Like, I feel like doctors are not incentivized as much as they are in the United States to push prescription medication, although there are pharmacies everywhere. And that's another thing, by the way, the medicine here is so cheap. Like, I have a friend, and she went to go get some Xanax because she has an anxiety disorder, right? Xanax in the United States is like super expensive. Even with a prescription, like you pay a lot of money for it. She went to the pharmacy without a prescription, by the way. She just went and asked them if they have any Xanax and they can sell it to her. They gave her a bottle of liquid Xanax, okay, like super concentrated liquid Xanax, for 10 euros. 10 euros for a huge bottle. Like that, I don't comprehend this. And I know that a lot of people who have like expensive medications in the United States, like they're basically free here. So it's weird. Like, if somebody asked me if they should move here in their golden age, and if the hospitals are up to par, they are up to par, but it's just not what you're going to expect. Like, visually, it's going to look way worse than I think the actual services are. So I do want to prepare you for that. It is all free, so that's amazing. So whatever you need, if you need a hip replacement, or if you have some issues with your heart or whatever, like, all of the treatments are free. It does take a little bit longer, and you do have to wait in the public lines. So there is that, but you can always pay for private if you want to. So yeah, I thought I would share that with you guys. And I do want to mention that, like, doctors here are, like I said, they're not trying to push a bunch of medication down your throat. I think they always try, like, you know, lifestyle changes first, and then obviously if you need medication, then they'll prescribe that for you. But I feel like when I look at the elder population here, they're much better shape than the population in the United States. I do think that has a lot to do with the water that we drink here, the food that we drink here, the food that we eat here, the air that we breathe here. I mean, the food plays a huge part in your health. I mean, Italians will go to war over the dignity of a tomato. Like, they will fight you if a tomato is not grown in the right way. So they're very, very picky about food here. And obviously you are what you eat, and food can be medicine. So they're very, very healthy in their diet. And there's a big community in here, Calabria. So the elderly population that I see, you know, you see little grandmas holding hands walking down the beach, and you see the old men playing cards in the city square and drinking coffee. So I feel like the elderly population is just healthier in general. And they have a lot of community, which I think helps, you know, your health. They say that if you're in the hospital and you don't have any visitors come help see you when you're in the hospital, that the chances of your recovery are like cut in half. But if you have a lot of friends coming visiting you and supporting you and praying for you and all those things, that like your health does actually recover. So I do think that like community is a huge part of health here, and obviously the food and the water and the air. So yeah, I think that like if somebody were to ask me, should I retire in Calabria, I say absolutely. The public healthcare system it looks really, really bad, but they do have everything that you need. And it's great that it's free, you know? So you do have to be a primary resident here. Like you have to have your primary residency here in order to receive that universal health care. It's not the best. I'm being honest. It's really not like amazing. Like if you go up to Northern Italy, their hospitals are like 5-star hotels. It's super nice. Everything is beautiful. You know, they have more advanced technology that they're using. Here in Calabria, it is very, very basic, but they do have like what you need to survive basically. So I hope this answers a lot of your guys' questions. I know a lot of people had this on their mind. So yes, it is true. Calabrian hospitals are a horror show, but they do have everything that you need. If you don't want to do the public route, you can always go private, and the private route is not that expensive. It's literally the same as a copay in the United States. And you do find amazing doctors and nurses out here, and amazing people who are trying to get you to change your lifestyle as opposed to just pushing drugs right onto you from the get-go. So yes, I do love living in Calabria. I do work with private doctors for the most part, but some things I do go the public route, like blood tests and chest x-rays and stuff like that. So there's options here, guys. So you can always choose the public route if you want to. And then your health in general is going to be so much better just by living here, just by breathing the air and drinking the water and having community around you. So hope this answers your guys' questions. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And I hope that you guys really consider coming and visiting Calabria, maybe moving to Calabria, maybe come retiring here in your golden age and enjoying the absolute beauty of this place and the health benefits that come with it. Okay, guys, so have a lovely day. Thanks again for watching. Ciao.